Hello boys and girls, Buster out here, and welcome back to World of Tanks Blitz. So today we are taking a look at the tier 4 German tank destroyer, the Hetzer. This is a very powerful machine, and it is pretty famous as well for being overpowered. Now in this review we'll take a look and see if that's true or not. First of all, let's see where this machine is located at the German Tech 3. There it is after the Martyr 2, the tier 3, and after the Hetzer, the tier 5 is the Stock 3. Now this line leads to the Jagdpanzer E100, which is a very powerful machine as well. Now let's take a look at the stats of the Hetzer. It has 440 hit points, which is normal for tier 4 tank destroyer, and it has 60 millimeters of sloped 30 degrees back frontal hull armor, which is ridiculous. That's very good frontal hull armor there. However, the sides are very weak with 20 millimeters and the rear with 8 millimeters. The Hetzer weighs 17 tons and has 220 horsepower engine, which is very good. It has 42 km speed limit and it has 30 degrees of traverse speed, which makes this machine pretty quick and maneuverable. But if you don't get the top engine, this machine is very sluggish indeed with the stock engines. But it's not hard to get since it's only tier 4 and the grind isn't so bad. Now we come to the guns. You have a choice of using two guns. First one is a 7.5 centimeter and it has 6.51 rounds per minute rate of fire with 110 millimeters of penetration and 160 average damage with 0.37 accuracy and 1.7 aiming time. However, you can mount this ridiculous 105 millimeter which has 4.64 rounds per minute rate of fire, which is not a lot, but considering the caliber of the gun, it's pretty good. It has 64 millimeters of penetration with the AP and 53 millimeters of penetration with the HE. It gets high explosive anti-tank or heat premium ammo with 104 millimeters of penetration. The average damage is 330 for the heat and the AP and 410 with the HE. It has 0.53 accuracy, which is not that good, but considering the small maps and the short range engagements, you have no problem hitting your targets whatsoever, and the 1.7 aiming time of this gun is just great. So I recommend using this 105mm, but if you want you can use the 75mm as well, whichever one suits your playstyle better. For consumables I'm using a repair kit, a first aid kit and a fire extinguisher. But you can use adrenaline, chocolate or the WoT repair pack, whichever suits your playstyle. This is my ammo load for the 105mm. I have 5 AP rounds, 1 heat round and 14 HE rounds. Now the heat rounds are the premium ammo and they worth 4,000 credits each, which is quite a lot, but I recommend carrying 1 or 2 of those for the carry situations. For the equipment I recommend using a gun rammer and also a ventilation. You don't need an enhanced gun lane drive because your aiming time is very good at 1.7 seconds. You can use binoculars, optics or camo net as the third equipment, because after all this is a tank destroyer. Now enough theory crafting, let's see how this machine performs in some gameplay. The first battle, we are not top tier, we are playing against tier 5s, and I'm going to show you how this gun performs in those kinds of matches, which it cannot penetrate most of its opponents with AP rounds since they have only 60 millimeters of penetration. Now when I'm top tier I preload AP rounds, because if I load HE, I still can penetrate tier 4s and tier 3s, but if I hit their tracks, the HE will do less damage and will not penetrate. So I load AP. But if I'm in those kinds of matches which I play against tier 5s or even tier 6, I load HE rounds from the start of the game, because I cannot penetrate tier 5s with AP from the front, and it's still better to do that 100 damage when you can with the HE, and that wasn't 100 damage. I penetrated this VK3001H and did 360 damage to him. Now I cannot penetrate him and I don't want to go forward, so I just take a snapshot at his turret and I do another 240 damage. And something is firing at me from stealth, so I fire at the location where the fire is coming, and this is a common camping spot on this map, so I'm confident that the enemy is there. However, I don't hear a confirmation from my crew that I have hit something, so I aim at a different spot and I'll try my luck once again. And there we go. This time I hit the enemy for sure, because my crew says that I've hit it. So I know that the enemy is right there, so I'm firing another round. But it seems like he's moved, so I stopped aiming at this location and I turned my attention to this Su-85. I should have fired there, and I did, but he repaired the tracks. Otherwise I could have gotten some damage there. And remember, the HE always does damage unless the armor of what you're shooting at is not too thick and completely negates it. But you will not meet those kinds of targets in the Hetzer. If you know where to shoot, you will always do damage with the HE, and you can see how well it performs. Now the T-34, I want to damage him, so I load heat round, which are the premium rounds, and 104mm of penetration are enough to go through a T-34. There you can see I penetrated him with the heat, and he takes me out. Because we got outplayed in this battle, as you can see, this Stug is the last enemy remaining, and those are the post-game results. We did the most damage, 1400, although we were not top tier. We did almost triple the damage of the guy which was below us, and he was a tier 5 and we tier 4, so this is how good the Hetzer is. Now here we are a top tier, we are playing on Rockfield, and this was the very first game that I played with the Hetzer the night I decided to make this video, aka last night. So let's see how will I do here. I'm preloading AP rounds, as you can see, because I'm top tier, and you can indeed penetrate the targets which you will meet when you're top tier. And if you see that you cannot penetrate them, you can immediately switch to HE, because in World of Tanks Blitz, unlike the PC World of Tanks, there is no reloading penalty for switching between your ammo. In World of Tanks on PC, if you switch between your ammunition, you will have to reload the gun once again, and in this game you can switch without reloading, which is a bit ridiculous, but I like this feature because they kind of adapted the game for Android devices. Not only for Android, I mean for phones and tablets very well. Everything is much easier, and they did a great job there. Now we meet a T-28 and I immediately load HE, because he's so soft target that I can penetrate with HE. And there we go, 384 damage. Pretty easy damage there on T-28. And now there is a T-46, which we can easily penetrate with HE once again, and we one-shot him for 370 damage. The two enemy Hetzers we cannot penetrate unless they show us their side. So I'm keeping the HE as the ammo which is loaded. Now I clutch this shot at the enemy Hetzer because he was retreating and I didn't have a second chance, so I decided to fire clutch. As you can see, the armor of the Hetzer is very good when it's not showing the lower plate, and everything that shoot us at this point bounced completely off our armor. So the armor of the Hetzer holds up pretty good if it's top tier. Now the enemy Hetzer is using the 75mm and he's bouncing, and I can shoot HE at his front and do 150 average damage. One shot this A20 because why not? I saw that he was behind me and I decided to shoot at him because I know that I can penetrate. This M3 I cannot pen with HE, so I load heat and I just secured the kill. You could argue that I could have fired AP there and still penetrated the M3 Lee, but I decided to fire heat because it's much more likely that the heat won't bounce, because as you saw there I didn't aim the shot at all, and if I was to fire AP it could have bounced if it went somewhere like at a ridiculous angle or something. I just didn't want to risk it. And now my team is capping. What the hell, team? Come on now. I'm telling them to attack, but nope. Someone wants his loser points. I mean, it's nothing wrong to cap, but seriously, when there are only two enemies on such low health, and we are 6 enemies, not 6 enemies, we're 6 in our team against only 2. I mean, what the hell is the point? And this is the end play. Ace Tanker and Top Gun, 1600 damage, is it, or is it 500? I cannot see very good, sorry about that. But anyways, yeah, it's 1669 damage, and as you can see, we didn't lose credits out of firing that heat round, and so didn't we last battle. So that is the Hetzer, a tier 4 German tank destroyer. Is it OP? Well, maybe it is. But I know one thing for sure, it's hilariously fun to drive and I highly recommend it. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, go ahead and leave a like below. If you have any questions, ask me in the comments, and if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe. Thank you for watching and good luck on the battlefield.